Black and White Spaces promotes unity, understanding, and collective sharing for marginalized Black intersections that are rarely, if ever, told. We're dedicated to expanding the Black narrative through education, elevation, liberation, and celebration for all Black people. Hey y'all, it's Jakaya, and thank you so much for listening to the Black and White Spaces podcast. Spaces. On today's episode, I have Chanel Stewart. Hey, Chanel.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. It's a pleasant evening over on this side. How are you? I hope everything's good on your side as well.
All is well. All is well. So I have Chanel on today. She is a Jamaican-American educator. So I have you coming to talk to us about what it means to be Black and White spaces as it pertains to education, mental health, and self-care in the Black community, as well as familiar relationships as well, and how all of those things kind of tie into your double consciousness as someone who was not born in America, but identifies as Black in America.
Absolutely, and I cannot wait to share my ideas, my thoughts, and just to clarify, I'm going to be sharing my personal ideas, and when it pertains to Jamaica, I just want to throw it out there. These are my views. I cannot speak for all Jamaicans or Jamaican-Americans, just throwing that out there for all the listeners.
So, as it pertains to your unique experience coming to the States, what differences did you see as far as education was concerned?
Okay, so first of all, I was born in Jamaica. I came to America when I was in the 3rd grade. So it was a culture shock. When I say shocked, like electrocuted, like I was so confused because I remember sitting in my 3rd grade class and I'm just writing, doing what is natural to me. Because in Jamaica, I learned to write in cursive. So I'm writing in my book, and, here comes my classmates. They look in my book, and they said, "Oh, my gosh, she looked like she writing the Declaration of Independence." And I was like, huh? So then my teacher comes over, and then she tells me, "Oh, wow, that's nice. Okay, but don't do that. We don't do that here." And that was confusing to me because that's all I knew. And it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're going to write in a cursive? What do you mean? So right now, my writing, I feel, looks like chicken scratch. And also, I felt like up to the 5th grade / 6th grade, I was the top of my class. Well, I was always the top of my class, even in high school. But I felt like I knew everything already. I learned all of that in Jamaica. I feel like the structure in Jamaica is very different. There's more discipline. The rigor, the pacing, everything is just at a higher standard than in America, at least from my experience. And that's even so being in AP classes, being in dual enrollment classes, still I felt that way.
As an educator, what is that experience like being a Black female educator?
As a Black female educator, I feel as though my students, a lot of them, they're lost. They come in lost. I serve African-American students, majority, and they come in lost, and I feel as though I validate them. I validate their feelings, and they have somebody to look up to. However, in that same space, I feel as though there's room for improvement because my coworkers, some current, some past, whenever I speak, I feel as though my voice needs validation from somebody who is white. And that's problematic to me. I feel as though, why is it that when I say something, you question it? You say, I don't think so, until somebody else chimes in and says, oh, I think I like that idea. That makes sense. Then it's validated. So it's a struggle being a Black woman, a Black educator who is also a woman.
So as a student coming from Jamaica, what were some other things that you had to adjust to when coming to America and having to like integrate into this completely new culture?
So number one was my accent. So when I speak to anyone who is not Jamaican, I automatically turn on this voice. But if my dead grown people, I'm going to say, all right, boom, yo, Jamaican or whatever the case, this command. So it can be challenging at times because sometimes I might slip up. In my classroom, for example, I'm like, okay, guys, now we're going to turn to page 100. And if I have to say 3, sometimes I catch myself saying tree, and just the little things like those where, having to, I guess, I don't want to use the word tone down, but tone down my accent, having to hide it, because I realize that some individuals tend to judge people who are not from America. Mm-hmm. And I'm already black, I'm already woman, so I feel as though I'm not going to let you know that in addition to that, I'm not from here. So just having to go through that process of finding the correct accent or which American accent is, acceptable. Because there's times when I'm like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. Or, hey, boy, hey, what's up? Like, this is what we're going to do. Like, just navigating that realm. And, okay, which voice do I use to who? And when I was speaking with my friends, they would be like, oh, say this again. I'm not your puppet. I'm not your toy. So it wasn't until, I got to know people more and more that I was like, oh, yeah, I'm from Jamaica, because I don't want to be used as a plaything. Like, I'm no one's plaything. I am a person just like you are. I just happen to be from Jamaica. And also navigating the space of being Jamaican. I came here when I was in the 3rd grade. So sometimes I go back to Jamaica and people question, like, you're not a real Jamaican. You live in America. Or, you're not really yardie. And I'm just like, why is it that because I live in America now, my, Jamaicanness is being questioned? I feel like that's problematic. And then when I am in America, it's like, I don't know where I fit in sometimes, because when I'm around African Americans, they're like, what? You ain't never watched Paid in Full? No, I still have yet to watch Paid in Full. You don't know that song? No, I don't know that song. But I'm just like, okay, well, if I ask you, do you know this Bob Marley song? Do you know Luciano? Who do you know? What Jamaican artist do you know? So it's an interesting thing when you think about all of that, really. And see, even now when I'm talking to you, it's like I'm going in and I'm going out.
Mm-hmm. Because that's comfortable for you. And right. I feel like we, as the Black community, like, I feel like we should definitely understand that even though we look alike, even though, we come in all shades and all sizes and all of that, not everybody is from here. And I think for me, going to college was a culture shock for me because I had never met someone who was Jamaican before. Like, I had never met someone who was not born in America. Their families were slaves because of the area that I grew up in. So it took me going away from where I was from to understand more about the world, to understand more about us, to like really get that. But yeah, that's difficult, being in that in-between space of like, okay, I'm both, and like I'm Jamaican, right, and I'm American, but for some reason, like, both of these things don't think that I match, that I belong, or that I fully fit the description of what that is supposed to look like.
Right. And it's so annoying. And I guess for me, it's even more annoying because, Jamaica's motto is out of many, one people. And the fact that that's the motto, and we're still having these issues, granted I understand that these issues come from slavery. These issues come from the Eurocentric model. So it's just like, okay, we're still suffering because of that, but I just wish more people would learn about themselves, learn about their family, learn about their issues and the history and what we can be and what we were, so that, our kids don't have to go through it, but it takes so much strength and conscious conversations for it to even happen.
Was there a point when you became an educator where you felt as if you wanted to kind of be the educator that you never had? Like, what was the point that made you decide to become an educator?
I want to answer this question in like two different ways. So,
well, I just asked you like 3 questions, I feel like.
Yeah, because it's like different things came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So what made me want to teach, want to educate, was actually when I went to Jamaica on a trip with Florida State. That's where I graduated from. That's where we met.
Yes.
And I went to Florida State. I was like, I'm going to be a fashion marketer. My major was business. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. My aunt's a fashion designer. Sewing runs in my family. I want to be a marketer, a buyer, something of the sort. That's what I'm going to do. And then I had the opportunity to go to Jamaica with Florida State. And we had to do, a lot of community service in Jamaica. And it was an eye-opening experience for me because I got to learn about my culture. I'm Jamaican, but I was taken away from that rich culture when I was younger. So getting to go to the University of the West Indies and experiencing my culture all over again. And then we went to a school. We were painting the school, and little children, they came running up to me, oh my gosh, wow, just giving me all these compliments and just saying, yeah, we go to school, yes, here is our book, you want to fill a lunch pan? It's right here. So I just felt this sense of, I don't know, like belonging. Like I just felt like I belonged there, and I wanted to help children. Specifically, I wanted to help Caribbean children,
mm-hmm.
but more Black children. So that was my moment where I was like, scratch that. No fashion marketer. I'm not going to do that anymore. I want to be an educator. I want to teach students. This is what I want to do. So that was my moment where I was like, boom, this is what we're going to do. And on my journey to getting where I am today, there were lots of bumps in the road because of like people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I worked at this school that was, majority Black students. However, the administration was majority white. And when I say they marginalized them children, I wanted to fight. Oh my God, I had to fight. Like, I was just, I don't know. So basically what happened was I was an assistant teacher in the classroom, and I was under a white teacher. This white teacher got up in front of them children. She said, the country of Africa is.
Wow.
She then said, the country of Africa is just one country. Africa is one country.
Mm.
That's what she was teaching those children. And they're sitting here, I'm looking at them, I'm looking at her, I'm looking at them, and they're taking in this information because, we're sponges. So they're taking in this information. She then goes, all Black people have this thing in their skin that causes them to get whelps and bumps. And I'm just sitting there like, is this real life? Like, when is the, just kidding, gonna come out? What she was talking about was keloid skin. She started talking about their complexion. She started saying, oh, well, I used to teach the gangbangers in California.
Wow.
And I was just like, what? She started comparing their hair texture. Well, you're not, and she brought me into the conversation too. She was like, oh, well, you're not as dark as they were, and look at your hair. It's not as, wow, it's better than this one's hair. And when I tell you, I felt my fist, they just started to curl. My fingers, I felt my body shaking. And I wanted to walk out of that classroom. However, I knew I could not walk out of the classroom, because if I walk out of that classroom, I'm leaving these children to suffer. I am leaving these children in her care. And what I will not do is I will not leave them behind.
Yeah.
Because what you're not going to do is sit here and tell black children, that Africa is a country. You're not going to sit here and tell them that their hair is bad.
Mm-mm.
You, as a white woman, oh no, ma'am. So even though I wanted to smack her, I didn't. I didn't smack her. I walked to the principal's office, and I communicated this information that was happening. And she was like, oh, oh my God. Like, it was a shocker. And it was one of those things where in my head I'm like, you knew how she was. You knew how she was.
Right.
Like, stop playing. You knew. Stop playing with me. But in my head, I'm just like, okay, keep it together. So she said, oh my God, I'm going to send her to diversity training, I am so sorry, oh my God. And then it was, the vibe that I was getting was like, I don't really believe you, but I guess. So then the vice principal was talking to me as well, and it was like they just didn't believe. Like, what? No. And it wasn't until one of my white coworkers came around and said, no, like, this is real life. Like, I heard it too. Once again, my voice being validated by a person who is white. That is problematic. Why doesn't my voice count? Why does it need validation? What's wrong with me? Why? Oh, I'm too black to make sense. Black people aren't smart, so they lie. Doesn't make sense to me. So then, after receiving validation from this white man at that, she goes, oh, well, I just feel like you need to be open-minded. Like, you just have to be more open-minded. And I'm sitting there in front of her. I had another white teacher in the room, too. I pulled her in there, too, because I'm just like, she has also witnessed this as well. So in addition to my white voice being validated by a white man, I brought in a white woman, too, because, like I said, the school, the people who are teaching there, the people who are at the top, they're mostly white, but they're serving black children. So I brought her in the room, too. This woman said, I need to be more open-minded. I said, okay, so just so I understand, what you're telling me is I need to be more open-minded to racism. That's what I need to be more open-minded to. She then looked at me all types of confused. She could not give me a response. I said, exactly. And then the white teacher was just like, I am so sorry. Like, she was genuine with it. Like, I'm so sorry you're even going through this. I can't even imagine. I don't know. She was like, I don't know what to say. But I just felt like they let this happen. Like, you're doing this on purpose. I feel like it's situations like these that cause us to regress. Like, we're not going to go forward if you have this set of black children being told all these things that are false. And then they go out into the world with these ideals, and then it's like we're wondering, why does this look like this? Oh, well, his teacher told him that Africa was a country, and then he's infecting somebody else with this information as well. And then it just spreads and spreads, and then it just won't be stopped.
That is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sure that there are so many people like her in the education systems, like throughout the United States, and nobody's checking them. I think I just had read an article about a teacher, I believe she was in a high school. She was sending letters to Trump. I don't know if you heard about this. Letters to Trump, basically saying that there was a lot of Mexicans in her class, and she thinks that they're undocumented, so ICE needs to come and, like, check out the school. So I feel like
I did hear about that.
Yeah, I think she was, like, suspended or something like that, but I think that they were considering bringing her back. But my thing is, why? I mean, the only reason why they would ever do that is because they also support her. So even if it's just one in the school system, that is extremely detrimental to a child's upbringing, how they see the world and how they see themselves. I'm so glad that you said something, because people like that think that there are some Black people who are just going to let stuff like that slide. So they try to test the waters with you to see, okay, how far can I get? That is freaking wild. And that really saddens me, because I feel like if she's not there, she's spreading that same just idiocracy with other people, whether it's with her family, her kids, just the people around her. The fact that you are that ignorant is honestly sad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then the thing is, as educators, we have access to so much sensitive information about students that it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
When I started, I get a profile of my students. Granted, sometimes it's helpful in, figuring out why a student is behaving a certain way, or, the student is sad today. Maybe, okay, I could, go figure it out, have a conversation, whatever.
Yeah.
But I have overheard conversations from other teachers, or, I've had somebody tell me about their friend, their problematic teacher friend. And you get to see the student's enrollment history. So it tells you, whether or not the student has been to jail, they're in and out of juvie. So then it's like, if you get a new student, you can look to see where they're from. And our parent teachers say, oh, well, I know this one going to be problems, because blah, 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 blah. Hey, oh my gosh, she's in jail. So, okay, cool, the child went to juvie. You don't know what for. You don't know the situation, because there are situations where students do things because, they felt like they had no other option. It's the life. Imagine your dad is, doing things in the street, and that was the only way to keep your dad at home. You took the charge. So there are certain situations that I feel like white teachers, or just people, they don't know about because they don't take the time out to speak to the child. That just because a child has something on their record, that doesn't always mean anything.
Right.
I believe that you should take the time out to get to know your student regardless. And I feel like a lot of people are in teaching positions who are afraid of Black children. They're afraid of Black people.
Oh, yeah.
They have this fear. And I'm just like, okay, what are you afraid of? I don't understand. I don't understand what the issue is. If you don't like Black people, if you're afraid, stay. Don't even apply. Stay at home, or go teach in a white neighborhood. Don't even take this job. Why are you here? I just want to know why you're here. That's just how I feel. Like, don't come and put our children deeper in a situation than they already are. Because the students come in with so many issues from at home, self-esteem issues. My students, literally, they look at me and they're like, how do you do it? How do you do it? You just get up in front of people and we all looking at you and you don't care. And then somebody else jumped in and was like, that's because she got that good stuff in her skin. Like she ain't dark like us. And it's just that mentality to think, oh, well, dark equals bad, light equals good. And I literally stop class. Whenever I hear a situation like that, I have students say, oh, you black lactose, you black like a Hershey, you black, like, I just stop class. Okay, y'all, guess what? This is a teaching moment. And I stop everything. We're going to break it down. We're going to break down exactly what you just said. I'm going to explain to you why it's problematic, and hopefully, they get something out of it. I've had students go to other teachers who say problematic things. She's talking like she's white. I heard a student say, you can't talk like a color. And I was just like, wow. What is that? Because it's equating, intelligence with being white. Right. Is a big thing in our community, unfortunately. Something else that I realized, a lot of my students their parents were children when they had them. So it's kind of like a never-ending cycle of children teaching and raising children. So it is up to me now to remove myself from that situation and unlearn what I was taught.
Right.
And it's, it's just a constant cycle of learning, unlearning, filtering out, this is good, this is bad. Maybe along the way you take some bad stuff with you, but further down the road, I hope, we all decide and realize, that one, that piece of information, that was too good. Let me touch that up.
I definitely agree. Even going back to the point that you made about, if you are afraid of us, anything that involves Black people, which is a lot of stuff, maybe you shouldn't do. If you are not a people person, don't work with people. That's what it really boils down to. You don't like Black people, you're afraid of us, you don't like us, whatever the case may be, you're racist. Don't go into a profession where you will have to interact with us at all. Save society. That I never understood why white people who fear Black people would go into professions like police officers, teachers, anything really. Like, you're putting more Black lives and Black minds in danger that way. So just leave us alone, really.
I was going to say, some may say that, well, why would you say, don't join the profession or don't do this? Wouldn't you want the white person to join the profession so that they could interact with, Black people, so that they could interact and learn more? Yes.
You need to do that before.
It's a certain type of person. It's a certain type of person. You have to go in. Maybe you were raised, I understand the individual because I have friends who said, I was raised to think this way, but I've now realized that was wrong. You have to go in with an open mind if you, you're going to serve Black students, not knowing about Black students. You can't go in just completely blind. There's a book, I forget the name, oh my goodness, I believe it's like for white teachers who teach in the hood or something like that gives white people a bit of knowledge on what they should do when serving our community. And I just feel like if you are white and you do want to make a change, you should definitely go for it, but go for it with an open mind. Go in it with some knowledge. Just don't go in there blind, like, oh my God, oh God, oh God, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Because something that I realized while actually in the room with that teacher was that, when Black people go to church, if, we're used to call and response. So when the teacher's up at front and the teacher's saying something, the Black students are going to respond. But then, if you're white, you might not understand that concept. Oh, shush, you're too loud, calm down. But you just said something. They're responding to you.
For white educators especially, I think it's important for them, as it pertains to Black people and Black students, to, first of all, to learn the cultural differences that are there, and understand that we have our own way of interacting with one another, our own way of speaking, even if we, are not from another country. Like, we got our own way of talking, and that doesn't make it wrong. So my whole time in high school, I had white English teachers who assumed that I was not good at writing. I had a particular instructor my senior year. It was an AP course. And for whatever reason, and it was like standard English, like in all my papers, all I ever spoke in that class was American Standard English. Like, I was, that was it. Like, I never used African American vernacular ever, unless I was talking to my friend who was sitting right next to me. And I think she assumed that because the way that I spoke to her, like, it just automatically invalidated everything. exactly that I had wrote on the paper, no matter how good the paper was. Also, going back to what you were saying about babies teaching babies, I think that a lot of times Black students are coming from those generational cycles of babies teaching babies. So, mama had me when she was young, grandmama had her when she was young, and so on and so forth. And the system is already kind of set up for, not kind of, it is set up for Black students to fail from testing, standardized testing, to just the way that classes are set up. Like it's not meant for us. And I will, that's a hill that I'm willing to die on. I don't think that it's ever been for us. I think that the way that it's structured was for white people try to affirm or confirm within themselves that Black students were not supposed to be with white students. So they built it in a way to make it more difficult for us. The way that schools are set up now, like in high school and stuff, is very much like prisons. Of course, the school to prison pipeline is alive and well in the United States. And I just feel like it's something that does not come natural for us as Black people. We come from strong people. It's not designed for you to succeed. That's just all I'm saying.
Well, what you just said, right? How it's high school, you have to ask, then when you get to college, it's freedom. I remember when we were sitting in like this meeting at FSU, and big presentation was happening, and then a student, he raised his hand, and the presenter called on him, and then he was like, "Can I go to the bathroom?" Then the presenter laughed and was like, "You don't have to ask to go to the restroom. It's your body. You're in control of your body.
Yeah.
You do what you need to do. You go where you need to go." And that was such an important moment, because I'm not going to lie. In my head, too, I was like, dang, I got to use the bathroom, but I don't want to ask. I'm like, oh, thank God he did it, so it wasn't me. I was like, whew, child. I don't know. It really isn't set up for our success. It just isn't. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking with my lesson plans, and there's a district guideline. However, our kids need so much more pushing, like just so much more.
Yeah.
And the standard that they have to meet, literally the standard, you didn't give me enough time to break this down and fill in the gaps that they missed in elementary, because I don't know, maybe they weren't able to go to school because their mom didn't have a car that day.
Yeah.
You did not give me time to fill in that gap in middle school. Maybe they had to stay home and watch their little sister because, I don't know, their mom couldn't pay for daycare.
Yeah.
So you didn't give me enough time to break that down. You just didn't give it to me. Then when this test comes around, you don't get to tell me a darn thing, because you're not up in this classroom. You're not with me. You're not struggling. You're not staying after school with these students. You're not with them during lunch when you open up their lunchtime, and I'm barely finding time to stuff food in my mouth as I'm trying to help them get through this because they have that test to take. Why am I teaching to a test? That's problematic.
Right.
Why? God, it's like a cake with so many layers that the cake just starts to topple over because of so many layers, and the cake just doesn't have the capability to stand tall. It just lean to the side. You just put too much on the cake.
Yeah.
Cake depressed, don't know what to do. Not the cake, all types of confused. Cake don't even want to go to school no more. So mad.
That's real. When I was in high school, I grew up in the country. It was predominantly white. I was one of maybe like 4 or 5 Black people in my class, in my graduating class. When it was time for SATs and ACTs and stuff to start coming out, they didn't tell us. They did not tell the Black people at all. I had to go to my counselor and let her know, hey, I'm interested in taking this test. And then finally, because I was in like honors and AP courses, they came around and was like, well, this is, what's going on within the next however many months. Y'all should start planning for it. I had friends who were not in AP and honors courses who never got that announcement. Had I not been in that room, they would have never had a heads up. And that to me is like extremely problematic because you're taking away our access to like resources. And that's always been a thing in education when it comes to Black people.
That is so true. That actually reminds me of when I was in high school. Mind you, going from Jamaica, so I was the first of my, siblings to go to a four-year university that's away.
Mm-hmm.
You go away to school, you sleep on, and I didn't know when the dates were to apply. Mind you, I'm in AP, dual enrollment, I'm in all those classes, but still treasurer of my dang on high school. But still, being that I'm not used to this process and I had no one before me to look up to for, hey, what's this? What's the FAFSA? What's that? What is this? I didn't know that the college deadlines were coming up. And if it wasn't for my friend she is in these AP classes as well, she's African-American, and she had a brother who went to college. So because of him, she knew. So she said, you didn't start yet? And I'm like, I'm supposed to start already? Yeah, like, it's getting close to the deadlines. I thank goodness that she told me, yo, sis, it's time to start applying, because that would have been me. I would have missed out on the opportunity to go to FSU. I would have missed out on the CARE program. And they don't advertise. They do not advertise the CARE program, at least at my school. They did not. So I didn't know about it. The only reason I knew was because of my friend who knew somebody else the prior year who went. So it's just like, telephone game. Hey, do this. It's like a telephone game in the Black community. Hey, you got to apply. Oh, you heard this? Okay. It's not on billboards. It's not set up. And I feel like the white community, they hook, themselves up. It's on big old billboards. Okay, Bobby, it's time to apply now.
Right.
Come on now, sugar. Let me help you. Versus us, it's like, let me sift through what I got to do, what's going on. And that's why at the school that I work at now, during my planning periods, I said, listen, if y'all need help with your college applications, come. Just let me know ahead of time. Come. And I had students coming in, filling out applications, sent off applications to the CARE program, sent off applications to different universities. Because I'm just like, I'm not going to sit here. I knew how this was.
Yeah.
If your mom works all the time, who do you have to help you with this?
Right.
Nobody. It's a lot. And I feel like people don't understand. They don't understand how much work it is to be a teacher. Yes, I'm doing these lesson plans. Yes, I'm, going up in front, I'm performing. It's basically a performance.
Yeah.
Because I have feelings too. I have emotions. But if I'm not having a good day, I still have to go up there. I still have to perform and get my job done. But in addition to that, I have 130-something plus emotions from my students that I'm dealing with. I'm helping my students navigate their world. I'm trying to navigate my world, but I'm helping them navigate theirs as well because, hey, they don't have anyone to help them out. And I knew what it felt like to not have anybody to help me out as well.
Yeah.
So it's just a balance. And they don't even pay us, girl. Like, they don't even pay us like that. Like, why they do us so dirty? Like, I'm just out here trying to be great. And, bring these kids with me along this journey to success.
Yeah.
But they don't even want to give us no money. Like, for real.
That's something that definitely needs attention. Teachers have just as much of an impact on someone's life as a doctor does. And that's another hill that I'm willing to die on. Like, you're trusting someone with your child's mind. That's big.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are so impressionable. You're just willingly giving them to this education system to teach them.
Exactly.
And
who's to say that it's like a lottery system with who your child might get as a teacher. So who's to say that the teacher that your child gets is even a substance?
Right.
And mind you, some people, I feel like some people, they just buy their bachelor's degrees. They just, oh, okay, well, here we go.
Yeah.
So then, boom, now they're in the classroom. Okay, now what? And I see it all the time. For me, I know, I have some kids, they hate, like, when I tell you they start off the school year, they hate me, but I don't care. I don't care because I know later on they're going to come to me and they're going to say, you know what? I didn't really like you, but you cool. And I've had that happen already this year because I tell them what no one else is going to tell them. Okay, you might be mad, but I don't care. You need to hear it right now. You're not doing what you need to do. It's not fun and games. These grades aren't fun and games. Ha-ha kiki is not going to get you anywhere. I've had students say, oh, no, I thought you were so mean. I didn't even like you, but I realized it's because you want us to learn. And it's like, to hear a child acknowledge that and say that, it's real to me. It lets me know I'm doing what I need to do. Because you see, I'm not playing with you. Like, we could ha-ha kiki a little bit when it's time. It's the right, it's place and time.
Yeah.
But regardless, we going to succeed. And there's teachers who are afraid of their students. They're afraid of them. So I had a teacher say, I just can't be bothered to tell them to, put their phone away because I just can't go through it. I'm afraid that it's just going to cause a fight. And I'm like, oh, well, what's up? I'm ready. What's up? What's up?
Yeah, we appreciate you because we really need to be in the field of education. For me, I didn't have any black teachers growing up. That was not a thing for me.
That's just so shocking to me. And I can only imagine, being in that space, being in that place where you're seeing no one looks like you. You're listening to these white voices, hearing these white experiences, these white stories. There's no one to, give you the information or translate the information in a way that you can understand it. Because I'm even thinking about right now, we are reading Romeo and Juliet, and there's times where I have to pause and I just have to go for my African-American vernacular. And so what had happened was, instead of, just so they understand.
Yeah, that's important. Like, I've always enjoyed school, but I feel like it would have been more enjoyable had I been taught by someone who looked like me or was able to relate in some way, shape, or form. Because I didn't even have a person of color teach me. It was straight white. white.
What?
Yeah. So.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, until I got to Florida State, that was like my experience with education. Luckily, I had a mentor. She was still white, but she was able to...
You said she was white?
Yeah, she was white. I was able to talk to her because she had lived a full life. She had, taught in prisons and stuff and like all that. So she understood the cultural differences that were there. And she was human. And that's what she saw. Like she understood, like, we're all in this human race together. We may look different. We have different experiences. But at the end of the day, like, you're my neighbor and I love you. So that, yeah, she's sweet. I love her. Her name is Molly Rice. So if anybody ever out in the world comes across her, I love her. Yeah, I think that for me, mentally, I feel like Florida State, and I think I mentioned this before, but Florida State was a lot for me to get adjusted to. I wasn't used to being around black people, which is weird because, like, I'm black. But it was different because I felt like I didn't really fit in anywhere. So I spent like most of my time at Florida State like by myself because I'm like I didn't feel cool enough, to be in the black community, honestly. But yeah. So
and I'm just trying to wrap my mind around this,
Yeah.
Because that's such an interesting perspective. Because while you saw, in a sense, you're saying Florida State was like your introduction to blackness, or blackness besides your own.
Yeah.
And for me, in a sense where I would have, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it was like freedom as it pertained to blackness.
Yeah, for sure.
And for me, it was the opposite. Florida State was my introduction to whiteness. It was I felt like a jail of some sorts. I was not used to being the only black person in my classroom. I was not used to having, that was my first introduction to have a white voice validate what I am saying. Because I graduated top 5% of my high school. So I'm used to people just, whatever I say, you're listening to what I'm saying and you're intrigued. Now it's like, oh, you stupid. What?
Yeah.
What you mean I'm stupid? What? Are you crazy? Yeah, you want me? You know where I'm coming from? Oh, like I was just, it was a lot.
Yeah. I feel that.
I can only imagine from the opposite perspective.
Wow, what an amazing conversation I had with Chanel. This is only part 1 of our discussion on what it means to be validated by white voices and the importance of being a Black educator. If you're interested in hearing more, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for tuning in to Black and White Spaces, where we give breath and space to the in-between. To keep up with us on the interwebs, follow us on IG at Black and White Spaces. That's Black, the letter N, White Spaces. Show us some love on our Facebook page, and if you're interested in sharing your unique journey, go to our website, blackandwhitespaces.com, and connect with us there. Until next time, peace.